For this episode, we're going to talk about the betrayal of Sigal Chattah. Sigal Chattah is running for Attorney General for the state of Nevada. She's running as a Republican, but recently various Republicans high up in the party, former chairmen, have put their endorsement behind Aaron Ford, who's a Democrat.
Aaron Ford, first of all, came to Nevada to clerk for Johnny Rawlinson. Johnny Rawlinson was put into the 9th District Court by Bill Clinton and Harry Reid.
Could you tell us a little bit about the campaign donations that you found, Pam, for Aaron Ford?
We have movie stars, Kate Capshaw Spielberg and Steven Spielberg, the director. George Soros has also given $10,000 to Aaron Ford.
You're also mentioning Steve Wynn, who's a Republican.
Yes, and I find this very odd because Wynn is pretty close to President Trump. He even moved down by Mar-a-Lago to be by President Trump and to golf with President Trump. Yet, he also gave $10,000 to Aaron Ford. The Schustermans gave $20,000 to Aaron Ford. And what people do is they'll have their wife and their husband give $10,000 each, so they can give the max amount to a campaign. Interesting enough about Lynn Schusterman, she was a Rothschild before she married Schusterman. Some billionaires named Dirk and Natasha Ziff also gave him $20,000. One is a Forbes reporter, and they also own PC Magazine.
And Nevada-based, or again, out of state?
Oh no, they're out of state. They're from New York.
Oh wow.
Pretty much all of his money comes from out of state.
That is really strange. What do people that don't live in the state have to do with how our law is being conducted?
Well, clearly in this race, everybody wants a piece of it. It is very strange.
I mean, should that even be allowed that an out-of-state donor tries to influence what's happening in Nevada like that?
I would really like to see that it is not allowed, because I don't know why other states have interest in Nevada. Aaron Ford has a lot of friends all over the United States, and oddly enough, a lot of them are billionaires and millionaires. So they're hanging in some pretty affluent circles.
Could you tell us a little bit about Aaron Ford's background? What have you found about his past?
Well, it's interesting. He had 4 arrests when he was younger. He had a public intoxication, he stole a tire, and he didn't appear in court.
How old was he when he stole a tire?
He was in his 20s when he stole the tire. He told the person that he'd bring the money to them, and he never did.
All right, so let's talk about Sigal now. So what kind of donations is Sigal's donations?
She doesn't have $1.2 million. I think she had about maybe, when I last checked, $170,000. So I don't know. There's really not a lot to go into Sigal, really. She currently, this period, got $67,000. A lot of it basically just comes from everyday people. $15 here, $100 there.
So Aaron Ford's getting money from mostly a lot of millionaires, a lot of high-powered people,
Billionaires.
Hollywood-type billionaires, and Sigal's basically getting mom and pop money mostly.
Yeah, it's just interesting.
Is there anything questionable on Sigal's financial reports?
There actually is one. There's a donation from the DNC PAC for $2,500.
How has Aaron Ford been with crime? Has he been tough on crime over the last 4 years?
Seems like he has not been that tough on crime. There were a lot of people that were let out during this whole pandemic. There was a gentleman that was let out, and the next day, he actually slaughtered an entire family in a car accident.
Where did Aaron Ford stand on, let's say, the COVID vaccine?
Well, I believe he was for it, as he's doing a video with him actually getting his vaccine. He talks a lot about gun control. They talk a lot about the elections, and he is for sure that our elections are free and fair. He was talking about the no-knock warrant. He really was into that Breonna Taylor case. He spoke about that a lot, and he also has videos on Derek Chauvin.
So Sigal Chattah, before she ran for office, actually sued the state for the unconstitutional mandates, isn't that right?
She did, and she helped get our churches open right before Christmas.
So looking at Aaron Ford's donor list, other than all these donations coming from leftists, out-of-state billionaires, is there anything else that you found that raises questions?
What I did find really interesting is he basically ran unopposed. He ran against Stuart Mackey, and Stuart Mackey ran against him the time before he became Attorney General. Aaron Ford basically took this guy to court, and he found out that he doesn't have his license with the Nevada bar. But what really doesn't make sense is on election night, the Associated Press decided to call the race for Aaron Ford.
So even though he's not really running a race because his opponent's been disqualified, the Associated Press nonetheless calls a race for him.
They called the race for him,
Wow.
and he also posted it on his Facebook himself.
What's fascinating about all this is that Aaron Ford is clearly supported by an elite that is trying to influence our politics in this state.
Definitely is. I mean, it makes you wonder, are their plans for Aaron Ford bigger than Attorney General?